We are 3 days away from the start of the NFL season, and we are 5 teams left for our official Farley Bets team previews leading up to the start of the season. Again, if you are not a free subscriber here to the Farley Bets Substack, consider it. And you should also consider becoming a paying subscriber so you receive all of my plays all season. Two-time Circa winner, hit 23 units up last season. All right, with that, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. I've said this on a few shows, and I'll say it here again. If I had a nickel for every analyst who predicted the demise of the San Francisco 49ers last season and bet under their win total, I would be wealthier, that's for sure. It was quite a few, many. And that's because the 49ers, coming off a Super Bowl loss in 2023, they had an incredibly tough schedule in 2024, including a ton of travel spots back and forth, zigzagging all over the country that would make life difficult for any team, let alone a Super Bowl loser who, just dealing with that loss, right? And that's happened to Kyle Shanahan a few times now. And they had such a good season leading up to that. It's tough. It's mentally a strain, right? To have to deal with that and process that throughout the next season. Coming into this season, not many people are talking about the 49ers, and yet they have, you talk about a 180 in schedule. We'll get to that at the end of our preview, but they have a schedule that is very complimentary for them, creating a path to the playoffs, creating a path at the top of the NFC. They have a few things to figure out. They certainly lost a few players that are important, but at face value, right, on paper, this is still a Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan led offense. And Christian McCaffrey, I should say, led offense. Probably especially Christian McCaffrey, because we know how much Kyle Shanahan, as one of the better offensive minds in the NFL, he's also a traditionalist. He likes to run the ball, right? He likes to keep the rock going. Now, they lost Deebo Samuel, who's a guy that was a part of that run game, kind of like a quasi wide receiver, fullback, running back situation. But they know how to bring in talent, and they know how to devise offenses that work. And Brock Purdy is an expert in the system. So let's get to more about these 49ers, but I am almost very bullish. I'm leaning very strongly on a strong San Francisco 49ers season. In 2024, they had one of the most productive offenses in the NFL in rushing and passing yards, but very average in scoring points. They just couldn't convert most of the time. Great on third downs, but subpar in the red zone. Only 57.14% of their drives in the red zone turned into touchdowns. Also, too many giveaways. They're 27th in giveaways. Then that's also, again, I say this like with the Bills, who had a really advantageous turnover situation. Same thing with the Vikings. On the flip side, a team like the 49ers, which are usually very buttoned up, are not going to have a tumultuous schedule this season. You have to expect positive regressions in the turnover department, and they will be more disciplined, more in control of what happens there. Still an above average offensive line this offense has, but Trent Williams is getting older, right? I believe he's 36 or 37. So, we all know, I've certainly aged significantly the past few years. We know when we get closer to 40, things happen, right? Your body's just not as resilient, not as explosive. If something happens to Trent Williams, suddenly this becomes a very average and even possibly a below average unit. Now they have younger guys on there. Again, this is sort of like the Cowboys. It's a team that knows how to develop and manufacture good offensive lines. I trust it, but they need Trent Williams, and they need some development from some of their other players. Christian McCaffrey, reportedly in camp, all sightings of this man coming off injury 2 seasons ago and just working his way back into the lineup last year. McCaffrey is reportedly as superhuman and explosive as ever. He looks fantastic. I think we could expect very positive things, maybe even MVP quality things from him this season, as he holds probably an even bigger role for this offense that lost a few pieces. We talked about Deebo Samuel leaving. Their wide receiver room in general is extremely banged up. Now you got Demarcus Robinson suspended 3 games to start the season 2. Juwan Jennings is questionable for week 1 as well. So the wide receiver room going through some real adversity heading into this season. Ricky Pearsall, I believe is his name. I don't have the full roster in front of me now, and you know how I am with names before the start of the season. But a guy that flashed a few times last season, he's going to be a bigger contributor to this offense. And, they still have George Kittle, who just got a new contract, feeling very happy about his prospects, one of the best blocking and catching tight ends in the NFL, if not the best. And most importantly, they have Brock Purdy, who runs a Kyle Shanahan offense as well as we've seen any quarterback in the NFL. Confident, healthy, heading into a new season. And again, a 49ers program that's been to the Super Bowl. All their main parts have been to the Super Bowl. So they understand big play, big game situations, and they have no pressure on them this season. In fact, they have revenge on their minds this season, right? Extra motivated to avenge a really poor 2024. The defense is very similar to the offense in that they were great holding back yards, like they were third in yards per pass allowed, but bad at preventing points. 25.6 points allowed per game last season, 29th in the NFL, and terrible on third, fourth downs, and in the red zone. They're 31st on defense, allowing touchdowns to opposition in the red zone. So certainly some concern there, and they lost some players on top of that. They were also 18th in sacks and 20th in takeaways. So just not as much playmaking. Again, I do credit some of the down performance of this entire team to their schedule last season, to the injuries that happened to their team, like across both sides of their roster, which obviously affected things, right? A few really important players left too. Tre'Davious Ward, Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave, and most notably Dre Greenlaw, their all-pro linebacker. They are gone. Now, San Francisco is similar to the Eagles in that their depth and the talent that they have on defense can still keep them afloat. Even though they lost those guys, they still have a lot of talent. They still got Nick Bosa. They still have Fred Warner right at the linebacker position, one of the great leaders in the NFL, one of the great linebackers maybe of all time. But they have a few things to shore up here. They're bad against the run last season too. 28th in EPA per rush, 25th in run defense success rate. And they drafted somebody who could help, but it's kind of controversial. Mikael Williams, 11th overall in the draft. Freak explosiveness, freak athlete from Georgia, defensive end. But he's going to be on the side of the defense, of the defensive line that is probably going to shore up a lot of the run protection and run defense, right? So this is a big spot for him. They also have fourth-round pick left defensive tackle, C.J. West will also start. So C.J. West and Mikael Williams in a big spot. Nick Bosa is going to have to be a great leader on the field along with Fred Warner and make sure that they play up to par. Their secondary is also very young. So a lot of question marks for this team on defense. Now, I should just let me do a little quick research here because I'm pretty sure. God, these I don't know what is wrong with me before a season. Maybe it's like coming off of NBA, coming off tennis, putting my brain in the closet during the offseason of the NFL. There are just some names that I need to hear one more time before they stick over and over again. Anyway, Robert Saleh, obviously, the former defensive coordinator for the 49ers, who then went to the Jets to be a coach. Many liked him. I didn't. Think he's a way better coordinator. He is now back with the 49ers as their defensive coordinator. So to me, that's a significant upgrade. We saw how great he can be in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan under their system and how he improved and really created some of the best defenses in the NFL when he was there. So although there's a lot of youth, I like their chances of starting better than we think. Schedule, like I said, one of the easiest in the NFL. They have the AFC South and the NFC South, which is an absolute gift. But then two alternate opponents, Giants and Browns. Okay. If I'm the 49ers, I'm taking that all day long. They also don't go to London. They don't go overseas. They have a bye after their Thursday night game, which is typical. But still, this is a schedule that says, hey, 49ers, we're giving you a path to success, right? That it's why their win total is at 10.5, and I think you can make a case it could easily be at 11.5. We are seeing that blown up chalky at many sports books to the over 10.5. I give them a rating of 79, very close to hitting the 80s, but to hit the 80s, you have to be an above average team in a very clear way, and there are some things for this team to figure out. How is their offensive line going to perform right from the jump, right? Is Trent Williams still the same Trent Williams that we've always seen? Christian McCaffrey is going to do his thing, but we know running back needs blocking. Like you need holes to. You're not going to beat 11 other guys on the defense, even if you're the best running back in the world. Even if you're Barry Sanders, you need some kind of protection and blocking, right? The wide receiver room. Are they going to figure that out? And a young defense. There are many question marks with this team, but still, the talent at the positions that matter, particularly coach, quarterback, there's continuity, they're in sync, they support each other. And then on top of that, you still have leaders on defense, and you still have arguably the best running back in the NFL, if not the best, right there with Saquon Barkley. So this is still a very talented team with a complementary schedule. I guess that's all I have, right? I strongly lean to their over, but I need to see it first. I need to see the 49ers operation come together. I do believe that will happen. I'm not going to take over 10.5 wins just yet. But if there's a chance that the 49ers start slow, I would look very, very seriously at taking an in-season live over. Like if you get a 9.5, especially, something like that, consider taking their over in the season. If you see that their parts are looking great, they're looking above average, but maybe just a few flaws, a few kinks need to be figured out. This is a schedule that really complements their success. On to the Seattle Seahawks next.